programs. Welcome to whatever this is. Um, yeah, I really don't have a name for this, but I thought it'd be fun. I'm kind of coming back into sketching and doing little bits of artwork here and there. Eventually, I want to get to where I can actually make some of my own art for the channel, do things other than just photographs for the thumbnails. So I figured it'd be fun, go through and actually just show off some of my old art that I found recently. Yeah, I'm using a weird setup here. Hopefully, the audio stays kind of okay. I'm actually standing behind my camera, being way up higher than normal, and I'm walking around a little bit. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun just kind of show off some of my old, really terrible art, and some of the things I'm actually a little bit more proud of. Anyone who's worried, no, this is not turning into an art YouTube channel. There's going to be little bits of it here and there, but that's not going to be the focus of this. Though again, to be fair, like I say on occasion, this is a variety channel, so it's not any one thing. Basically, it's just me being a nerd. Hey, nerds like art. That's how we get comics. Anyway, I'm talking too much. And I actually have this big binder here. This has some of my absolute oldest work, back when I cared enough to try and put in a binder with page protectors. Not going to go through too much of this. It's pretty basic. I'm going to have to play with the lighting as we go here. But yeah, this was actually literally one of the first things I drew when I was trying to make proper art. It's very badly drawn Sheik from Zelda, obviously. Horribly done attempt at drawing Raven from Teen Titans. A slightly less terrible, but still not great Midna. There's just random fan art in this. There's me coming up with just the stupidest off-the-cuff characters. That thing was supposed to be a character. He shows up a bunch more in this. There was, me trying to do a cute, clever signature based off of my middle names. I think I called this one Game Over. I've actually drawn this one twice. There's a second version of it. Here's that weird dragon again in another color scheme. I don't even know what's up with this. This is actually one of many chalices I drew. Chalice. My first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I loved the design of the Myrrh chalice in that game, and basically I went through and just made a bunch of elemental ones, and I was gonna attempt a game, and you were actually going around collecting these. Back in the day, I did genuinely think I would be able to make a video game at some point, so this is actually concept art for it, I guess you'd say. Really badly drawn Link and Zelda, Navi, and what made sense in my mind, a Dark Navi, Weird Dragon again, the other version of the Game Over thing. This time I added Dead Link hand. Dragon again, another chalice, randomly drawing Samus's Morph Ball, slightly less terrible Raven, the one and only time I've ever drawn a car. I don't even know. So much of this stuff I don't even know at this point. There's weapon designs and random fan art. Clearly I should not have been allowed to draw profiles. I want to say I was 12 when I did most of this stuff. Just random little chibi Link wearing a scarf. This one actually, this was the really weird ratioed cover to a Zelda fanfiction I was writing eons ago. If I remember right, it was supposed to be the sequel to Twilight Princess, and I had my own terrible fan insert evil villain who like had kidnapped the children of Link and Zelda and all this weird crap. Young Inuyasha that I drew for some reason. It's very random and weird. There was a phase where I drew a bunch of fairies and a few of those made it in here. This one I actually still kind of like, to be honest. It's one of there's a few older things I did that, yes, the perspective isn't the best here, but I think the idea here was at least a little bit clever, but whatever. Let's see, am I even gonna bother going through? There's Link as Master Chief, Bad Zelda, random dragons. That one was supposed to be Aquamentus, or I think that's how you say the name. First boss from the first Zelda game. That dragon, again, this is more or less what his final design ended up being. It was a intentionally kind of old school Zelda fan art. Obviously it's Link, but you know what I mean. Another fairy. Banshee. This was from a How to Draw Mythical Creatures book that I had. Or have even. I do still have that. I don't even know. I think I was just practicing there. Basilisk from the same fantasy book. Another random wyvern thing. Dragon, chibis. Slightly less terrible Link. This was also from a How to Draw book. Same with Mario, Luigi, Wobbuffet, and Lugia. I have a very large collection of How to Draw books, actually. I plan on reviewing those even, because not all books on how to draw are created equal. Bird. Oh yeah, speaking of that weird Zelda fanfiction, I guess Darkness Uprising was its name? This was the villainess that I made for it. I think I just called her Shade. And that was her dragon. I think I named him Agron, or something like that. But, and yes, this is a different dragon to the big, weird, undead thing. Agron versus Link in the AVP style. Still not very good at doing profiles. Dark Link, because Dark Link. A little bit more ambitious attempts from me. It's very rare to see me ever attempt a background. There was a background. Flapjack and Captain Chronicles. I drew a Velociraptor for some reason. I want to say this was like a request or something from someone back in the day. I genuinely can't remember. That was like 4 DeviantArt accounts ago. Weird bunny girl thing. There was actually an older version of this one where it was a demon chick, and then I did her as a bunny for some reason. Ridley from the Metroid series, like in a cute baby form. I want to say there was a reason for this, but I genuinely don't remember. Sailor Moon, a skull. Everyone draws a skull at some point. Badly drawn Samus, a parrot. This was a Dryad picture. I think this was based on another How to Draw book I have. At some point I'll figure that out, actually. This is a really, really badly done fan art of the main character from a... Oh man, I can't think of the name of it. It was a Nintendo DS game. It was like a puzzle adventure game that was really good. Title of the game is here. I liked the game, so I drew the character from it. Toad and Toadette. This is actually a Sword of Mana fan art. I don't think at the time I knew what that character's name was, but I saw a picture kind of like this, of like her silhouette in the mana tree, so I did a version of it. The Charlie Brown Christmas tree, I think that was a character from Bleach. Clearly I'm just kind of skipping around. One of the random anthro drawings I did at one point is, I guess I was trying to do furry art before I knew about furries, and very quickly ran away from that. Uh, Me very clearly being a Hot Topic boy back in the day. I don't even know. There's a lot of I don't know in here. Hulk scared from evil, angry chibi. This I know is from a Christopher Hart book, actually, that I will look at some point. Yeah, just random stuff, me trying to get better at shading, things like that. One of the few good hands I ever drew. That's all pretty random stuff. But to get to some of my more, and I use this term loosely, proper artwork, we're actually going to go to pile of loose stuff, where the first thing is, I don't know, I just liked this. I still like this to this day. I have no idea why I drew it, what the point was, but I like it, so there it is. There's a much more recent me drawing Dark Link, Shadow Link, whatever. Not the best, but I can tell this was something I did just for like a warm-up, and for being a warm-up, this isn't the worst thing ever. I'm sure some of the proportions are really off if I think about it. Apparently I tried to draw Nick Cage at one point. Being Nick Cage. Okay. I'm not even sure what some of these are fully. This was some weird zombie bride I drew. I know somewhere there's a digital version of this where I took this and like digitized it and did a digital bright colors on it. If I can find that, I'll splice it in here. This is a character from one of 3 stories I was working on over the years. To be fair, I'll give myself some credit. I did limit myself. I was only ever working on 3 stories. And one of those stories is getting its own little segment in this video. But this was, I want to say her name was Arachne. It was a thing I was doing where it was all based on like the Greek and Roman and Aztec and whatever other pantheon of gods kind of all clashing and merging. Yes, I'm aware nowadays that Percy Jackson and stories like that are a thing. At that point, I didn't actually know about those, and so I thought I was being all clever and original. That's part of the reason I stopped working on it. I sketched the dude who's a jerk to Arthur in The Sword in the Stone. Another rare me doing a backdrop thing, or background. I know I had intended to finish this and like actually ink it and color it, but that just never happened, unfortunately. This is one of few things that actually has a year, so this was actually only done 5 years ago, but it was just me drawing a dryad. Definitely one of the things I'm a little more proud of and happier with. Here we have another character from one of the stories I was working on. This being Alex with a Y, because I was being super original and just had to spell her name weird. I don't know if I ever even did settle on a name for her story, but basically it was the horror story I was writing. She was a lot of fun. I actually still sketch her to this day, even though I've basically given up on the stories happening. I think this kind of goes without saying. Anyone who's seen The Lion King can hopefully know what's going on there. Did that 6 years ago, it looks like. This was also done 6 years ago. This was literally just me sitting down and testing a set of markers I had got, actually. They were just some cheap, like, Crayola markers, but I was very happy with how this turned out back in the day, and in fact, I'm still actually pretty happy with it. Another sketch of Alex. This one I remember very well, because I have the habit, when I'm drawing, I'm like this. I'm up close. So, this being covered in ink, and me just being face first in this thing while I drew it, yeah, I genuinely actually got a little high off of that ink I was breathing in while I was drawing this one. if I remember right, this was supposed to be the Rake, from anyone who remembers that little short-lived online, fad, and, they made a few fan games of it and stuff. The I definitely like this one more. I I think that I wrote the date like too scratchy, so I think that's 2013, but I'm not sure. And apparently in 2014 I tried to draw Ariel. Okay. Random fan art is a thing that I've done throughout the years to try and, practice. This is arguably the best thing I ever did, at least in the eyes of Tumblr. This was the best thing I did. I used to post my artwork over on a basically now dead Tumblr page. Nothing ever got more than like 3 or 4 likes, except this thing blew up, and for like a year, every day I'd log in, this thing was getting likes and reshares and stuff. So, arguably my best work right here, apparently. This is like one of 2 times I ever did watercolor. That's the only reason I still have that. This was a monster, actually, from the story that Alex is from. So, nameless horror story I was writing. Yeah, it had some monsters. That's one of them. I remember there was a lot. Those things were like supposed to be in a horde or something. I know, this is weird and rambly, but I'm having fun. Hopefully someone else is too. I drew Toph at some point. Turned out pretty well. Oh, this is actually the very first drawing of Alex. So there you can see the weird spelling I used for her name. Yeah, she was just covered in bandages and half of a schoolgirl uniform for some reason. I remember the first few times I drew her, it was a big thing where I made sure you could not see your face. That was before I came up with the whole big smile and one red eye and everything. I have no idea what this is, but the colors are kind of neat. That's really all there is to it. Slenderman, because I was really into all those different, free horror games back in the day. Vegeta, not done the best, but I tried. Wow, this one's 11 years old. I drew this in 2010. Wow. Another more recent one, just an elf. That's really all there is to it. It's an elf. It's like there's a Victorian chick. A couple of these, unfortunately, I can say, yeah, they went unfinished. I just never got around to finishing them. Apparently, I tried to draw the Phantom of the Opera. There was a point where I was quite obsessed with that movie. I still like it, but not to the degree where I'd actually try to draw anyone from it now. Spyro, Nami from some of the Harvest Moon games back in the day. She was always my favorite character. It's funny, at least in the games I'm thinking of right now, she was always like the hardest one to marry. And so I always married her just to say I did. Yes, I'm obsessed with the Harvest Moon game series. I still own an unhealthy amount of Harvest Moon games. I'm going to be talking about those because, like I've mentioned before, I do plan on doing some video reviews on here. I don't know. I don't know why it has Lady Gaga lyrics on the page. It looks kind of cool, though. Vent art. Very, very noticeable vent art when I was pretty upset about something. Here's one of the other rare surviving fan arts of mine. This is one of the characters from the Mark Crilly Miki Falls series. If I remember right, I had drawn I had a character that was kind of the equivalent of her, just in she's the antagonist without being the villain type thing. If I come across that, I'm going to keep this aside because I know I had done an accompanying piece, so they were facing off on each other, something like that. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things I think holds up better. But then again, I'm copying Mark Crilly here. By the way, if anyone who's watching this who doesn't know already, Mark Crilly has been on YouTube for ages. He does some of the best, like, drawing tutorial videos. I'm actually... Well, right now I don't even think I count as self-taught, but I was self-taught, and I basically learned just from watching his stuff. So, check him out, description in the link. Link in the description! Wow, that was a fail. And I need to make sure the camera doesn't freak out on me, so 1 second. Okay, hopefully here it won't stutter on us, but see, Jafar, more Slenderman stuff, me being artsy, another one that I meant to properly finish but never did. Yes, I did have the bad habit of, like, shading in sections just to have to erase them to put in color. These are just two weird characters that I drew, like, twice, and then I was done with them. Their names were Greece and Rome for some reason. I have no idea at this point. One of the few times I tried to draw someone, actually, this is a friend of mine. I actually am still friends with her. Hi, Mona. That's another friend I drew. He doesn't have Facebook anymore. I haven't talked to him in a long time. That's another friend, technically my sister, as I refer to her now. I need to go back and try to draw these again and make them look better. A Dalek, a Cyberman, Mads Mikkelsen, or Mikkelsen, I'm not sure how you're supposed to say his last name, but him playing Hannibal Lecter, and the guy who played Will Graham as well. I remember drawing these in college. I was obsessed with the Hannibal TV series in college. Some more Zelda stuff. This is probably the best Zelda picture I ever did. And then finally a picture of Alex. This one, for some reason, I drew on like a nice heavy cardstock instead of my normal printer paper. So there's those. But like I said, yeah, there's another story that I was working on. And to be fair, that story is probably the single biggest thing that ever drove me. In fact, it was the reason I started trying to learn how to draw. And to be fair, if any story of mine ends up actually being made, this is it. But this story, I remember, this was called Love is Silent. And anyone who follows me on Twitter has been recently seeing this character popping up on the feed. This is an older picture I did where I just used all green pens and a black pen for some reason. I think I was just messing around with using different colored outlines there. Okay, probably should not show these ones on camera. Here, I'll show this one. They're nothing like explicit or bad. It's just I was using my main character to also try and do some figure studies and stuff. There's another one. This one I'm actually still quite proud of, other than her hair being a little weird. I have probably about... I think in total I have about 200 drawings of this one character, just fine-tuning her face, because she was the main character. You also see me changing the scar on her neck like every 10 seconds, trying to figure out how to make that work. Picture of her and the guy she's with. I want to say his name was... Oh, duh. His name's Pat. It's on the paper. I used to do that a lot. There's some of the other characters. I think this is a very old design for the main guy. And you can't even tell that's the main chick. At this point, it's so badly done. I think I just named this guy Joe, if I remember right. He was just kind of there. This is one of the other character that gets drawn the most. This is actually the antagonist of the story. I want to say her name was Raph. Yeah, Raph. Short for Rafaela. No idea why I chose that name. I don't remember if this picture even belongs in this stack or not. The main character again. Can't remember if I even mentioned. Her name's Mariko. Like I've said, I've experimented with a million different styles and ways of drawing her. Whenever I try to adjust the style for this story, it's always her I use to set the watermark. Raph, again, trying to be a little bit more realistic there. I think this is more or less the final design I ended on for the main guy. His name was Leland. I'm going back and trying to remember all this stuff. There's another picture of Monaco. I actually wrote the name of the story on this one. Put some... I don't know what those mean. It's been too long since I used to do Japanese. That was me trying a realistic style on her. Did not work that well. That must be me trying to write her name in Japanese or something. I don't remember. Very, very old version of the Raph character. This picture I remember the most, not because it turned out that well, but just because I was proud of the fact I got the colors I did. I was using a 12-pack of Crayolas. So you're looking at like 7 different colors mixed together to get this very basic looking skin tone. It was me making up challenges for myself before I was actually properly online and knew about art challenges. Older sketch of Mariko and Leland. Nothing too amazing here, just me going through, drawing the characters over and over again. Some of these I do still really like, to be honest. I'll just kind of rapid fire some of these. I drew him sad one day and put pain and loss on the wall in graffiti because I was being clever. Oh, there it is. I knew there was a picture I drew of my character facing off. There you go. I intended to actually put these on my wall at some point, but I never did. And clearly this is a much older design of Raph, as you can tell by the hair and stuff. Another character from the story, you can see his name there. I know I had a total of 8 characters in that one. That one kind of holds up. This is one that for a while I was like redrawing every couple months or so. I don't know if this is the last time I drew this one or not. She looks randomly older in this picture than any other one. That's one thing I never could get right, is she always like turned mature when I tried to draw this pose for some reason. Absolutely horrible picture. This is actually the very, very first time I drew the character that would become Mariko, actually. So that tells you something. And for reference, actually, over here, this is what she looks like as of, like, last week, me sketching. Again, more just rapid fire. I drew her Tim Burton style for some reason. Me actually working in color. Clearly, I did mostly black and white. This is Raph in her most finalized design, I guess. This picture is actually a collaboration I did with Shell's Art, who anyone who looks in my description knows is actually the person who made me my logo and stuff that I use on the channel now. Back when I was actually drawing more often, her and I kind of did a few things back and forth. So, yeah, go check her out. The reason that this picture looks any kind of decent is completely because of Shelly, not me. I don't know why, but for a while, this is a character from the story named Keiko. For some reason, I was drawing her with Slenderman. I don't even fully know why. But I did that, apparently. Also, yeah, Keiko's defining feature, she had light blue hair that literally went down to, like, the ground. And, like, the joke was that she would keep tripping on it. I don't know. There's Keiko again. You can see her ridiculously long hair. Apparently I was pairing her up with Joe. This is like me drawing Mariko on a halftone paper. Apparently there is a slightly newer version of this one. I only know it's newer because of the hair. The faces are relatively the same, but the hairstyle is a little bit more recent for me. None of these are too amazing or fantastic. There's a reason I'm kind of skipping. This is one that I still want to come back and redraw. I screwed up her face. If it wasn't for that, I think this would be one of the better things I did. Good lord, I spent hours working on just the folds and wrinkles of the bed sheets and their clothes and everything. This one, I have to redo. But, actually, the last thing I'm going to show here, I pulled it out for this stack earlier. Yes, this was me being a fanboy, but this is a very, very old sketch of Monaco I did. And one of the things that I wanted to do in the story, I remember I had set the story in like the year 2050 or something like that. So like near future, and I was going to be making all these jokes about, haha, classic rock, and then I'd name someone that's contemporary from now. So like Avenged Sevenfold and Red and bands like that were going to be classic at this point. But I actually drew this picture, and if I can get the camera to focus on it, I actually had her reading Mark Crilley's book, Miki Falls. And this is still one of the things, I don't know how I managed to do that with my limited skills back then. Because no, that's not exactly a perfect rendition of the cover of the book. But here you can see the actual book. Yes, I do actually own the series. It was that tiny. So, yeah, I thought it'd be fun just kind of go through, show some of my old stuff. At some point, yes, there will be some mild art videos here and there, as well as I definitely want to do some reviews on some of the actual how to draw books that I own, because I think that could be fun, as well as maybe useful to some people. So, anyway, thank you guys for bearing with me and doing this weirdness. More normal videos on the way soon. See you guys next time.